all you real true fact finders. It's time for Real True Facts, the Real True Podcast. My name is Wendy Malick.
And I am Jordan Knight.
Not that one.
Yeah.
Thanks again for tuning in this week. Since our last episode on the Loch Ness Monster, Nestor has been in the news. There was actually a sighting. I think it was a nice drone shot. So maybe it was a footage from a bird.
Yeah, I heard about this. I didn't see it, so you'll have to maybe kind of clue me in. But I heard there was a shot of the lake and another shot of Nestor. So what kind of photo or video footage did we glean this time?
It was actually different than previous footage because we know we have the black and white photos, the very grainy stuff. This is actually really clear. It was an aerial shot, and it was kind of far away, but it was really beautiful. You can kind of see the markings or the what Nestor's back would look like. It's just very, very pretty. It was a very pristine photo. No visual of the head or body, tail or anything, but it was just sort of like the back coming out of the water. Just looking super peaceful in the lake, business as usual. And it looked like a really nice photo. Obviously, there's some people out there saying that maybe it was a fish instead. But there are some cryptozoologists that are out there that are saying that this is definitely a photo of Nestor.
Right. I don't know that, we've seen many other fish really kind of showing off out of Nestor's territory. So, it's interesting. And the timing is couldn't be more appropriate considering we just, released that episode and, Nestor shows up again in the media.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was like next day after we put the episode out, that photo popped up, and it was just really cool to see how I guess we've got our ear to the track there. We know what's going on. So very cool. So I thought we'd bring that up before we get into our topic today. Today we are discussing the Jersey Devil. That is something I don't know much about, but the pictures I've seen actually look really adorable. Have you seen a picture of the Jersey Devil, Jordan?
I saw a lot of things. It'll be interesting to kind of get into it and see what we're dealing with here, what it is, what it isn't. I guess I was kind of a durability agnostic. I didn't think one way or the other. So it's interesting that you came to that conclusion.
I think he's cute. I mean, it kind of has a head of a goat. It's got wings. There's like a kangaroo tail. It's sort of just like a mashup of a bunch of different animals, and no one really knows what it is. I had to do a little bit of preliminary research so I would know what we were talking about with our guest today. We'll introduce him later in the show. But as far as I know, just in southern New Jersey and Philadelphia folklore, Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, is said to inhabit South Jersey. They describe it as like a flying, they said biped, so that means it walks on two legs, a flying biped with hooves. But there are many different variations. There's a kangaroo creature with a goat or a horse head. There's bat wings. Sometimes he has horns and clawed hands. So it kind of looks like a Pokemon, I guess. Just like a big Pokemon.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I think, Pokemon or Pocket Monster.
Yes.
I don't think you're far off there. And it does sound like in the medieval days, I guess we had, or not even medieval days, if you go back in time, we had, griffins and manticores and all kinds of other combinations. And in modern day, we have, Pokemon, and they are our very own kind of take on these creatures. So I think, that'll be, one interesting facet to examine is, the lore and the truth and how we perceive them. So maybe there'll even be that classic anthropology angle there with Dr. Seymour.
Yes, who is back again this week. He was off on assignment last week, so we did not have the pleasure of his company, but he is back today. And I guess, why don't we bring him in? We'll get him up from the science bunker here. I know he's a busy guy here. Dr. Seymour, are you with us right now?
Yes, I am. So great
Hey,
to be back. Thank
yes,
you.
welcome back.
Yes, thanks for joining us again this week, especially after some of the harrowing experiences with your most recent experiment. Is that true? I heard grumblings and rumblings from the bunker that your experiment took an extra toll.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, when we were last spoke 2 weeks ago, I was in we were working on some different cloning experiments, and I had been um, developing different hybrids and kind of genetic versions of some bees to try to up the number of bees out there. And shortly after we spoke, it wasn't more than a day or two after those the clones kind of multiplied and turned on me, and then it was just a whole series of events there, getting the whole experiment back in order, kind of a creation turning on its creator situation. But we've got everything back in order, and we are doing great in the bunker again.
Good.
Great
That's
to
good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that kind of Frankenstein situation. At least as far as I know, that Frankenstein. I haven't read the book per se, but I think it's a situation of the creation turning on its creator, and that kind of situation. So I'm glad that you were able to get control and kind of put the toothpaste back in the tube as best you could.
Yes, and we are going forward with more momentum and more resolve than ever. So do not worry about the present or future of the science bunker. It is going strong.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Well, good. I'm glad that worked out. You know, science is pretty metal, so sometimes these things happen. But thank you for coming back today. So, Jersey Devil, we ask a lot of biology questions on this show, and you're always very obliging with that. So, why don't we just start there? In your research, looking at the anatomy of a Jersey Devil, that is sort of this mashup of so many different kinds of animals. What in the animal kingdom, maybe we were looking at something supernatural too. What makes that possible for an animal to take on the traits of something else?
Right. And all through recorded history and even oral history, there's been story of these different hybrid creatures. So it definitely is something that it's not a one-off instance or some kid, doodling on the back of their placemat at a restaurant, and then all of a sudden we're worried about this. It is something that has kind of stuck with us through all of human existence, and there's lots of hybrid animals that people don't really know exist or not that common, or maybe have heard of them but don't know that they're real. Ligers, zonkies, jagalons. There's jeep. Even there's just lots of these things where animals that don't even share a common habitat, when they do come in contact with one another, they're still in that same a very similar family. So they are able to breed, and then if you kind of continue that one step to the next, it is very not just possible, but it's very probable that you could take one kind of simple hybrid animal, another hybrid animal, and get a lot of traits in one. It may not be a species that is then widespread, but so many of the traits of the Jersey Devil, we hear things like kangaroo, bat, horned, horse or goat. All of these are mammals. So, and at a certain point, a mammal can breed with another mammal, and then those can kind of continue until we get something unexpected.
So when you're describing all these different animals, one that came to my mind was the platypus. That's another real animal, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, like if that were described to you, you would think it'd be just as ridiculous or more ridiculous than most that I described, or even the Jersey Devil itself, a duck and the flippers and a kind of a beaver-like pelt. But yeah, that's a very common animal that has been around for quite a long time, and is not a one-off rare crossbreeding circumstance.
And that's so interesting that you bring up the platypus, because when that animal was first discovered, people did not believe that it existed, because you have an animal here that has a bill, it lays eggs, and I believe they are also venomous. They're slightly venomous. And so it was just sort of, and it had like a beaver tail. And so it looked like so many different things that I think the science community thought that it was a joke. So in the case of the Jersey Devil, we might be looking at something that might be in the same family line as a platypus.
Yes. Yeah, very likely.
Yeah, I think it sets a good precedent for, a lot of times the truth is stranger than fiction. And we encounter that time and time again on the show where, we can't make this stuff up. And things that stick have stuck for a reason. Mm-hmm. It sticks around for very good reason. It's not, rarely does something continue to hold water if it doesn't also hold some kernel of truth.
Well, and these are also very specific animals too. And so I don't know why someone would just make something up if they hadn't seen it. It's not really your first go-to to be like, man, I saw this like kangaroo horse, bat goat, like. How would you just see, like, you wouldn't know to describe it like that if you hadn't seen it first.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if I were making up an animal, I would immediately go to, it was a lion, dinosaur. I'd pick the big the big boys out of the zoo, the more interesting animals. So yeah, I think I think that's a really good point, and hopefully we'll get some more details this week with our guest.
Yes, we do have a very special guest today. Dr. Seymour, we know that you're busy. We got to get you back to your bees. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with going into our guest, or anything you would like us to know just about maybe the Jersey Devil or things that we should be on the lookout for when we are talking to our guest today?
Well, I'm excited to find out more about the Jersey Devil itself. As we know, I've more than dabbled in lots of different fields in zoology, biology, etc. But it's the best way to learn is the hands-on experience. So someone who has seen, been around, heard, whatever the experience is with each beast is just a great learning experience. And as you said, it's kind of for me right now in the middle of my research, it's also an important time for me to be the hands-on. But I will be tuning in and very excited to hear the developments on the Jersey Devil so that I can look into it more myself, and then continue to push the scientific community further in that direction.
Wow, great!
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. We hopefully will do that. We'll keep searching in the name of science and the truth and facts, which is what we do. So we will say goodbye temporarily to Dr. Seymour so he can get back to his research. He's in very high demand today, so we're very lucky that he was able to come on the show today. And I guess we'll take a quick little break, and when we come back, we'll talk with our special guest about the Jersey Devil. We are back from a break on Real True Facts. Today, our special guest joining us talking about the Jersey Devil is author David Kole. He is the author of The New Jersey Devil, not the hockey team. I believe that is the full name of the book. He is an absolute expert on the Jersey Devil. He'll help us get into more depth with our preliminary research that Dr. Seymour helped us do. But please help us welcome David Kole to the show. David, hi.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm Jordan Knight and Wendy Malick. I'm on your show. I am excited. So glad to be here.
We're so happy to have you. So happy to have you.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, we're just always happy to further explore the areas of this world that really need more light shed upon them. And you being an expert on the Jersey Devil helps us. That people ask about it, so we want to answer those questions. So first of all, the Jersey Devil. I mean, it's it's this may sound like an odd question, but it's a real thing, correct? It's a real creature.
Oh my gosh, Jordan, is it a real thing? It is a real creature. It is still alive today. It is still roaming in the land in Leeds County, in the Leeds area is kind of what they call it. In the the Barrens in New Jersey. It is still there. And this is almost 300 years later.
Okay, wow. Leeds is in New Jersey. For some reason in my head, I always think Leeds is in like England or somewhere over there. So we have this nailed down. This is a homegrown U.S. Animal.
Absolutely. And animal? I don't know. Who knows? I guess we'll talk about it.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because, we're assuming it's an animal. We talked to Dr. Seymour, who gave us sort of this precedent of like a platypus that might be something similar. But when I was doing my research, I looked into the popular folklore, and a lot of people refer to the Jersey Devil as the 13th child, which I guess there was, when they say Leeds, there was someone named Jane Leeds. And as far as I know, she had 12 children. And when she had her 13th child, it came out as this monster that we know as the Jersey Devil. And there was a lot of shunning happening in the town. And there was a lot of talk that maybe this child was the son of a witch and the devil, which sounds really badass. But I think that it caused a lot of issues for the family. So I guess that's where I want to start with what you know about the Jersey Devil. Is this animal? Is this human hybrid? Shed some light on that for us.
All right. Well, Wendy, I mean, let's step it back just a touch and picture yourself in 1735, okay? 1735, no cell phones, no televisions, just small kind of colony-like areas, okay? Mm-hmm. And the father of this lady, Jane Leeds, the wife, the husband, I'm all mixed up. The husband of Jane Leeds, a hard worker, we figured out he's a tough worker. He would fish and, work the trade system and that for that time, but he liked to drink. There's your devil. Sure. There's your first devil right there.
Oh, okay.
Am I right? There's your first devil. He loved the drink, and he loved it. We know he loved at least 12 times because they had 12 nights of pure fun, I guess, and enjoyment for the moment, and had 12 children together. Yeah. Can you imagine 12 children today?
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to.
I can't imagine that many small animals or humans or beings or whatever running around. No. So this is no.
No. And so you think, okay, I've done my time. I've got 12 kids. He continues to drink. She's taking care of these kids. That's like double the Brady Bunch right there. Am I right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy to fathom that. So on another drunken, stupid night, we like to follow in the proper way of saying it. They fornicate. And next thing you know, Jane's pregnant again.
Sure.
The 13th child.
13, yeah.
13th it's not a lucky number. I always say that, yeah.
There's no 13th floor in hotels.
That's correct. And in the colonies, did you know this? This is a little off the fact here. They would never build a 13th cabin. Everybody had, like, if you were in a colony, everybody had your, depending on where you were in the country too. It could be thatch, it could be mud. It could, there's various things, brick they make the buildings out of. Mm-hmm. But in a colony, especially in New Jersey at that time, that was the devil time, and they did not believe in 13. So they never would build the 13th hut. Yeah. So all the people, the rest of the people that would come into the land, they would pretty much put them in the other homes, and they just mix the families up. That's something a lot of people did not know.
Wow. So it sounds like this creature or being really had a tough time before it even came out.
I think so. I truly believe that, Jordan. So she was so. Let me, and I'll go back a bit. She was so just exhausted having to take care of 12 children that when the 13th came out, legend has it, but I have it in my book. There's a section in my book where I have some of the scribe that was uttered, and her true, like if you would put this in a quotes, words were, she raised her hands to the heavens above and she proclaimed, let this one be a devil.
Oh.
Let this one be a devil.
Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like a bit of manifest destiny there.
Well, you know the saying, being born under a bad sign, like this is pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't know that it gets much worse than that. I mean, it sounds like it wasn't entirely by happenstance. There was a little bit extra going on here.
Yeah.
So it seems like we have a being here that maybe wasn't initially planned for this Earth, and then it comes out, right, and it wasn't as all thought should be.
Are we thinking that this child would have been fine had she not cursed this baby, or was it going to happen anyway?
By all means, this child was cursed before it was even out of the womb.
Okay.
And when it was born, it was a stormy night. It was horrible outside. The father was there. No clue whether he was sipping on the whiskey or the libations. He was there. The children were there. It was a rough night. She has the child, and when it comes out, Wendy and Jordan, this child, looked like a regular newborn.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, nothing that looked like what you wouldn't believe is going to happen.
Interesting. So when do we see the changes happen then?
Within a few minutes.
Wow.
So apparently transformation began to happen right after, like the child was washed off and it was looking back at the eyes of the kids and looking around. And legend has it, but I have it in my scribe in my book, the eyes turned red. Horns began to protrude from the right and left side, right around the temple. The face, the baby's face, started to morph, kind of elongate, like a horse or a goat. You know how it started forming a little bit of fangs, and the teeth. They actually had teeth. Teeth began to form. Okay. Yes.
Sure.
Fur began to just. You know when you get chills. You know when you all of a sudden you touch something, or you hear that scratch on the board. You get that chill, and your hair stands up. This thing, and I say thing now because it's no longer the newborn. This is the devil. This thing, the hair starts to expand and grow and grow. And most sightings have said 5-6 feet tall. I think it was bigger.
Yeah.
And wings started to form. Hoofs for the feet, cloven hoofs. And we know what the cloven hoof is. It's the devil.
Yeah. So Mary Leeds gave birth to the devil.
Absolutely no doubt in my mind.
Was
Wow.
she, in your professional opinion, was she a witch, or was this just a bunch of bad luck bestowed upon her?
She called to the devil. She called
Yeah,
that one.
she knew what she.
She took care of 12 kids. I don't think she was a witch, but I think her ways were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe our conception of a witch may be different, than it was at the time. Back then it may have been various levels and degrees. For us, it's easier to, a witch, or wasn't it a witch? But for them, maybe it was this spectrum.
Yeah, I think I could see how she would be so frustrated and just at her wits' end, that she would just yell out and curse her own offspring.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could see
You
that.
know what? You won a 13. You gave me this 13th
There
one.
you go.
Oh, yep, exactly. Here's what you get for your efforts and not helping me. If you're going to go hit the bottle,
Wow.
let's just do this.
Let's do it. Yeah.
And I think what intrigues me about this whole thing is it's not, a mad scientist experiment, or, just a rare monkey in the woods or whatever. It has this real spiritual quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's born of humans out of frustration and calling out to this other world. And that's really kind of, I think, speaks to myself, and I would think many other people as well.
Well, I mean, if you're calling out, honestly, if you're like the vampire, if you invite the vampire into your home, then you're inviting evil into your home, and they can enter. The devil is the same way. He cannot, in whatever form or fashion he is in, enter until you've asked for him or invited him in. And they invited him in several months before.
So this child is the vessel with which the devil is inhabiting a corporeal form.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, I think, just making this more, realizing this is more than a quirky animal. There's more danger to this. There's more spiritual. There are more spiritual stakes.
Oh my gosh, Jordan, you don't even know this. What happened afterwards was devastating. This thing, as the drunken dad cowered into another room in the cabin area, this thing tore through these people. And I don't know if this is a PG show or from a mature audience program, but let me tell you what, this thing ripped people from limb to limb. All the children, the mother, everybody. Mm-hmm. Right before it destroyed these people, which would have been his family. He ran quickly up the chimney, and he was gone.
Yeah.
Wow. And that also explains why the story is so difficult to get out. When you eliminate all of the witnesses like that, it's not something that's easily spread by anyone who wants to talk about it. So this is all starting to make sense as to the circumstances and the origin and why it's been shrouded in such mystery, because that's not a story that's easy to perpetuate in those circumstances.
Right.
It's not a happy story. And so I think in that sense, it probably immediately becomes folklore, especially in a way to warn others or to teach children lessons. It's like, if you drink or if you, engage in these debaucherous activities, the devil might inhabit you. You might become the lead's devil in this way. And so I think, from a societal standpoint, it could serve as a cautionary tale as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this thing didn't stop. I mean, it had, when it ripped through there. Luckily, and as part of my book and through my research, my book, The New Jersey Devil, Not the Hockey Team, that I wrote back in 1994, explains how the neighbors of the colony heard the trouble that was happening, and one happened to be a writer.
Yeah.
and wrote everything down from that evening. And that's why we have the information that we have. So to kind of say it's folklore, Wendy, I'm sorry. I have to say this happened. I have it. I have the proof written in my book.
Let's talk about your book for a little bit, because I want to know, now that we have a foundation for the truth behind the origins of the Jersey Devil, I'd like to know what made you want to dedicate your life to the study and also your book, because it is a large book. I read it many years ago, and it took a very long time. So I've been a fan of yours for a while, but to write this major, I guess, omnibus of
Right.
the
I
New
saw
Jersey.
the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did appear to be very large. I have to agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
4,500 pages, apparently. 4,500.
Yeah. Exhausting, but worth it. So what made you want to dedicate your life to this?
It really rolls back to the you say folklore and you say stories about different things. Maybe you're talking about the Loch Ness earlier today and other stories like that. It intrigued me. It intrigued me to the point where I want to know where this thing is, what it's doing, how it feeds, how it, does it breed? Are there more? Does it actually, how much does it get off the ground? I mean, you mentioned earlier it was a biped, and it is a biped, meaning much like an ostrich, runs on the back 2 feet. And so is it powerful enough to get in the air? Yes. Is it powerful enough to kill somebody? Yes. Is it powerful enough to scare the kids that it's been scaring for years? Yes, and it does mostly. So when it scares the children, it's in the children. And the devil is in the children, and then it goes to the adults, and then the devil is in the adults. My book is to simply explain through history how the devil runs through the body and ends up in the adult and ends up causing havoc. And this is an actual creature that has been seen as far back as the 1981 sightings, the 2004 sightings, as recent as 2004 sightings. This thing from generation, don't know if it's the same one or not, but I'm thinking the devil, I think it's the devil, so it's the devil, He's not going to have a whole family. He's been asked. He's still around. Nobody's destroyed him. Nobody's killed him. Nobody's done anything to him. So he's still there. I think it's the same one. Unless, of course, the devil decided to have a family. I'm not sure. That would be another book that I'm working on. But right now, I wanted to do this because I wanted to show the world that the devil works in definitely mysterious ways. And he works through the kids to the adults.
That notion is very interesting to me, because the devil originally went through a child as a host body. You're mentioning there could be more than one, or I'm thinking, is there a possibility it could be the same one just finding a new host body when the first one wears out? It just jumps.
Wow.
From person to person.
Wendy, hey, you got me on that one.
Had you not thought of that?
I'll be honest with you. That's a question. I'm putting that note right now.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down right now. Thank you so much for that angle. Sometimes it's great when you have more than two eyes on a project.
Yeah.
You bring somebody else in, they see it, they can, and then they all of a sudden they go, "Hey, I got an idea," and wow, that's why I love your show. You guys are amazing.
This is why we do it. This is a collaborative effort.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, that's just one more question to answer, and I think that's what it's all about. Is coming up. The truth is intangible, so we're constantly chasing after it on this show.
Yeah.
I love it.
And wow, we've revealed so much. I think maybe it'd be time for a quick break to kind of maybe rest a little bit, frankly, for me.
I need a little breather after that.
Yeah, so let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. back after a short break here on Real True Facts this week, speaking with David Kole about the Jersey Devil. And in Real True Facts fashion, coming up and revealing all of this, all these details that we didn't really know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that line up with the folklore, but as we have uncovered, this isn't really an instance of biology or evolution that Dr. Seymour maybe suggested, but rather is a historical retelling, according to David Kole, a historical retelling of the origins of the Jersey Devil. And, we were talking about maybe how the creature has survived all this time. So why don't we welcome back David Kole from our break?
Hello. Glad to be here.
So when we left off, we were talking about just sort of the way that this creature is inhabiting other people and how it has lasted, I guess, since the 1700s up until now. Because we could talk about the history of it, and it looks like you've prepared a lot of the historical retellings of this. But what are some modern ways now that people have seen the Jersey Devil?
Well, in the original knowledge and notes as part of my book, The New Jersey Devil, Not the Hockey Team, the form was more of a horse-like face, long face, a kangaroo-type body. But one thing that never gets mentioned, well, it starts to get mentioned now, is the fact that he had a tail, a forked tail. How many forked-tailed animals are out there that you know, and any kind of horse-like character that stands on 2 feet, cloven foot like a pig?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I can't name any.
I can't either. And I've been looking all over the world, and I've been trying to find this kind of thing. Nothing. So you throw in horns, and you throw in kind of a leathery type wing that allows this thing. This thing can swim, it can fly, it can run as fast as an ostrich, and ostriches can run as fast as 45 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So this is fast, and this thing is, I say thing, I won't call it the devil, because to me, when you just destroy the family and especially your own mother, and then you take off like that, I don't think that was very, gentlemanlike, if you will. So this is a thing. This is a devil. This is a mean thing. And so
now, and I hate to interrupt you, but when you say devil, are we talking about this in a biblical sense, or is this something different?
No, this is the biblical sense. This is the devil. Rumor has it that behind his left ear, and only one person that we know of has ever seen behind the left ear, is the inscription, the 666 symbol.
Oh, okay.
The omen.
And this, and again, it starts to, the pieces, I know I've said it before, but the pieces fall into place. Why does this seem like such a mysterious animal? Why do we have such a hard time tracking it down or getting photos or any real evidence? It's because it's not just a traditional, weird, wild animal.
Exactly. You cannot capture the devil. You cannot capture the devil. And if you can, you better be really good and have a really good place to put him, and solid place to put him. Because if you do not, it's going to be this, and this is what the devil looks like.
Wow. So, I mean, so now we have the devil in this particular form, and it's running around on the East Coast, or the eastern part of the country, which kind of makes me curious. Do you have any thoughts or evidence as to why it really is almost stuck up there?
I believe it has to do with the fact that the lands of what is now obviously the United States, Northern America, the discoveries on the coast, all these ships came in with the Vikings and the Norse, or even Captain Kidd. The stories about Captain Kidd and the New Jersey Devil. That's a whole nother story. But the fact that I personally believe that he likes to have that cool area, that water, that mist that comes off that Jersey air. There's a certain odor that emanates from the sea to the area in which most of the time he's always seen just in sometimes he'll be in Camden, and sometimes but most of these days in Pine Barrens, because Pine Barrens is that's his home. Who leaves their home that often? He might travel. He might go to Kentucky, or he might go to Florida, or he might come over
Georgia.
here. But his home is there. That's where he was born, in Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think that's more of a sticking to the traditions of 300 years ago. That's all he knows.
Any correlation between the 13 colonies? Because when you said that the colonists wouldn't build a 13th cabin, I thought, well, that seems kind of moot because there are 13 colonies.
And what was the 13th colony? Roanoke, Virginia, the 13th
Yeah.
colony. None of those people were ever seen again.
Yeah.
The devil, because it has been a proven fact that the last person seen in Roanoke was the last person at that time to see what is called the New Jersey Devil now. So he does travel, but not that far that I know of.
He sticks within those colonies, I suppose. Yeah.
And
Because
I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but he's been known. He's starting to pop up here and there. I said in 2004, the diner incident. That's I think I believe you read that in my book.
I did. There was an incident in a diner. Maybe you can elaborate on that for our listeners.
Yeah, what happened in the diner incident was crazy, and I said 2004 because I was thinking about the other one that there was another incident at the diner, but the original diner incident was in 1994. My book came out in 1998. So I wanted to correct myself. I apologize for that.
No, it's fine. There was a diner and I think a drive-in as well.
Correct. And so exactly. So the diner drive-in is the incident that I would like to elaborate on. Several children between the ages of 15 and 18 would go to this specific, and it was right outside of Leeds. Probably, I don't know, I think it was 4 or 5 miles outside of Leeds. And there was a drive-in theater, and the kids were watching a replay of Back to the Future Part 2, enjoying themselves. There was 15 different cars, scattered different cars watching the movie. After these kids, particular kids that I'm talking about, after they had left it was Linda Seymour and her 4 children. She was the one that let them watch the movie. Then she came back, got in the car, picked them back up. She went away for whatever, went shopping or what have you, but let them watch the movie on their own. A couple of kids on the date. Anyway, long story short, they get in the car. They head to the local diner. It's about 11:15, 11:25 at night. The only person that is in there is the one waitress who is actually waiting tables, and she's cooking, and she's the one that closes up shop. And they usually close the shop around 11, but they let him in because, it's locals. They all knew each other. So the four children of Linda were sitting there eating their French fries, eating their shakes and their burgers, yeah. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the power went out. And, of course, they're between the ages of 15 and 17 and 18, and they're kind of just all giggly and having fun with it, right? Well, they hear what sounded like a thump, 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 thump. I don't know how to exactly describe what a cloven foot sounds like on the top of a diner, but if you can picture that, that's what that was. That's the thumping that I'm talking about.
Terrifying.
So they hear this thumping. They don't know what it is. They start getting a little nervous. They start getting a little scared. Then the power generator comes on to the diner. Kids are kind of, okay, everything seems to be gone. The lady that was there is trying to use the phone. No, phone is out of business. They're on the generator. The phone is out of business. No power, nothing except for the generator.
So you could only hear the power of the generator.
Right. So you could only hear the power of the generator. And next thing you know, one of the children I know this for a fact when I interviewed her for this story. She's much older now. When I interviewed her, it was very hard for her to talk. She turned white as a sheet telling me this story, how when she looked out the window, there was what appeared to be a very long goat-looking face with red eyes staring back at her with horns and a very distinct kind of screechy scream that I can't describe it otherwise. Because to me, it gives me a shocking, I don't want to go there. What she described, this eerie, just screeching sound it made, it still gives me the chills today. And describing it would be, you'd have to hear her say it. And that's why I'm going to make this into an audiobook soon. My book, the New Jersey Devil, not the hockey team. I'm going to put that into audiobooks, and then we're going to recreate the screech and the sound. But that was the diner incident. And they saw it, and all of a sudden, lights went back on. As soon as the lights went back on, it was gone.
Yeah.
But
naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, this just seems so much deeper than we originally thought. And I admit, I feel kind of silly now because in the beginning of the show, the pictures that I've seen of the Jersey Devil, I thought were kind of cute, and now I feel so ridiculous thinking that because obviously now we are dealing with the devil and not just a name that locals have come up with to describe this creature. I'll ask now, because these stories are so chilling, are we in a battle for our souls?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Wow. So that makes me wonder, is there a religious component to any of this, or is the devil indiscriminate? I mean, does it matter whether you're atheist or agnostic or a Buddhist? Will this creature just will attack you, or can it affect you, or is there a religious element to this, or how does that work?
The religious element to that is very tricky. I'm not going there. I'm not going to go there. No way. I don't want to deal with that. It's the devil, man. I'm not going to go there. Yes.
Sure. So whether we believe it exists or not, I don't think that's the question, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter whether we believe in, Jesus or Buddha or if we're Zoroastrians or
just regardless of the theology, it is here.
And he's bad. He's a bad creature.
Because that was my next question, because a lot of times things are misunderstood or we don't know why they're there or we're just afraid. You're saying beyond a shadow of a doubt this is an evil entity.
Yes. There's no doubt. No doubt he exists. There's no doubt he's evil. There's no doubt he lives out that way. And we still, to this day, are trying to figure out what is his major plan.
Yeah. Because in your book, I know that chapter about his plan was long in theory, but there really wasn't anything concrete there. And since 1994, I believe, have you come up with any more plans of action or things that we can do in order to get this devil out of us, I suppose?
Well, the best thing I believe we can all do is cleanse yourself on a constant, maybe use Epsom salts, maybe whatever helps to heal your body and inside, meditate. believe in whatever you believe in, because the Jersey Devil, he's out there. He's coming for you if you don't watch out, and that's just no doubt about it.
Do we have any? So I guess one defense would be keeping ourselves clean. Has throughout history, has anyone made any progress with this battle, or maybe, I guess, wounded it in a way, not necessarily physically, but spiritually, or contained it or weakened it in any way throughout the years?
Well, the Himalayan salts apparently are quite a turn for the said creature. Meaning, if you take Himalayan salts, you know what the Himalayan salts are?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm sorry, I have no idea.
Himalayan salts are salts that are used mostly for cooking. They're a salt that is usually pinkish, purplish in color, that come from the Himalayan mountains, and are a very stronger source of sodium and iodine. Most people use them for cooking. Some actually use them for cleansing. And
wow. Okay. Buy lamps. They're like giant salt block lamps that you can plug in, and I suppose the light sort of activates the cleansing powers of the salt and can permeate your room with those essences.
Almost every home that, if you end up going, I don't know if you both have been to Leeds or the Pine Barrens, if you go that way, you'll notice the salt lamps in every single home. Because it is a protector. And the salts, they're sharp, and they've been known to scar the New Jersey Devil. So the left wing, there's like 3 sections of the wing which open up and flat. On the left wing, on the bottom side, he had been in a battle, which is obviously in my book. It happened around 1906. That was an interesting battle because the one that actually got apart and actually wounded the Leeds Devil, what we like to call him, used the salts, the Himalayan salts, as almost got like a razor sharp knife, and it's in there. So there's still to this day about a 3.5 inch hole in his left wing, and that's
so. This is a specialized weapon that was developed to be able to battle.
At the time, in 1906, it was correct, and so everybody in the area, that was the year that the New Jersey Devil really started coming back. There was even a $10,000 reward for this thing. So there was a lot of people scattered and looking for the Leeds Devil, and this thing evaded everybody most of the time. There's rumor that he was caught one time and used in a museum, but I believe that's truly folklore, guys. I don't believe that story at all. Because if they caught this thing, then the devil would be gone,
Well, I think a lot of times if someone were to catch it, I don't think they would know what to do with it. It seems like such a powerful ancient one that to be in its presence is almost more dangerous.
Well, I know what I do, and that is not keep it here on this God's green earth. That's for sure.
Eradicate that.
Wow. So, geez, and you mentioned 1906 was when it came back so strongly. Well, 9 minus 6, of course, is 3. So 1, as in 1906. That's brings out the number 13 once again, like right in front of our faces.
Yeah.
So it's not something we can easily avoid.
And I don't want to spook anybody, but this is actually our 13th show.
Unbelievable.
Pure coincidence.
I don't know. I have a hard time believing that now that it really is.
Shoot.
Wow.
it's always a challenge when we're talking about these things because, we had, the incident with, Dr. Seymour and his cloning and, there, Loch Ness, and then suddenly it's in the news. We just sort of have this serendipitous thing with our show, and so hopefully we're not stirring anything up by talking about this.
You don't want to do that.
No, this is purely informational. We're not trying to conjure anything now that we know the absolute truth.
No, ma'am.
David, I want to pivot a little bit and talk about the imagery in the current media with the Jersey Devil, because I know in your book you have to reiterate that it's not the hockey team. We have movies and video games that feature the Jersey Devil now. I think maybe people don't know the actual truth behind it, and it's sort of taken on sort of a pop culture thing. What are the dangers in perpetuating this imagery?
You're sitting there making fun, or you got the hockey team. That's why I put that in the name of my book, The New Jersey Devil, Not the Hockey Team, because there was a vote back in 1982 for the hockey team, and the biggest name was naming it the New Jersey Devils, and that's the name that won. And they've got a symbol of this little devil guy on their shirts or on their T-shirts and the paraphernalia that they have. And let me tell you what, that is not the way to go. That is that's bringing him back. That's we're feeding to him. And that's what he wants. He wants to take our souls. He wants to come in and take over. That's why the hockey team, they won 3 Stanley Cups, 3 championships. Don't tell me those are the years that they won. Those are the years that they had the symbol on their shirts of the devil's face.
They don't have the symbol on there anymore?
To my knowledge, they do not.
Wow. So it seems like there could be more at play here, and more at play to the society at large. I feel like we should take one final break here and try and wrap our heads around this, and then I feel like we could go on for hours with all these new revelations, but unfortunately, we have to. All good things must come to an end. So maybe we should finish things up and then wrap up this week's with the mailbag.
That sounds good. We will do that, and we'll be right back. We're back from a final break with author David Kole, author of The New Jersey Devil, Not the Hockey Team. We've talked about a lot of really scary stuff tonight, I think, which has been really enlightening. And, we have gone over a lot of folklore about the Jersey Devil, but it is not a platypus. It is the devil himself, and I think that's something that we really have to watch out for. Like you said, we're fighting for our souls every day. David, I know that you mentioned earlier that you have another book in the works. Can you tell us more about that?
I sure can. As I'll always refer to the New Jersey Devil as my go-to. Because I spent a half a lifetime researching this amazing creature. And I say amazing, I mean like just its appearance wise.
In the literal sense of the word.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I have been working on a new book called The Mothman Prophecy, Not the Movie, with Richard Gere. And that hopefully will be finished around 2021.
Oh my goodness.
And I remembered you did a story on the Mothman Prophecy, and I really enjoyed that with a fellow co-writer, or not co-writer, a colleague, Johnny Kobrax.
Oh yeah, Johnny Kobrax, Jr. Yeah, we talked very deeply about the disappearance of his father, and hopefully we'll be able to get to the bottom of that at some point. But yes, a collaboration on the Mothman, I think is due. We definitely need that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe in the future do an anthology sort of follow up where we, where are they now sort of thing with all of our previous guests and stories, and make sure we, touch all those stories.
Well, hopefully we won't be touching the devil.
No.
It's true.
So usually on the show we, I know that. My co-host here tends to ask what we should do if we ever encounter the beings that we talk about. So if we were to encounter the Jersey Devil, or I guess just the devil, now that we've really gotten down to it, what are some things that we can do to keep us safe? You talked about the Himalayan salt. What else can we do?
Run. Just run.
Yeah.
Run as fast as you can out of the Pine Barrens. Don't look back. Just run.
Maybe just stay out of New Jersey, I guess.
I like New Jersey. I have some friends there, but we never go to the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
We won't do it.
Interesting. Run. I think, we get caught up in the whole stop, drop, and roll of it all. And sometimes the best... the best thing to do is just get out of there as fast as you can.
Stop, drop, and roll. We've got duck and cover. No one ever just says run, panic and run. Maybe that's just what we need to do. Yeah. I apologize. I'm so flabbergasted to learn the truth. I mean, sometimes on this show, the truth really does rock our worlds, and you have definitely done that today, and we are very appreciative, but also a little skeeved out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we had a run of quite a few episodes with all of these mysterious creatures and animals and things, and kind of a peace and love sort of outcome, and so this was almost a reality check, like, hey, as much as we'd love for everything to be peaceful out there are some dangerous things that we need to be aware of, almost, I hate to use the term, but a spiritual terrorist out there. But I want to express my thanks, David, Mr. Kole, for coming out and taking this risk on your own, this amazing personal risk, and sharing all this information and shedding this light on this difficult topic for us. So I just want to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Wendy.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I took from that is just don't have kids.
Right. I didn't like them before this episode, and and now I'm just thinking I don't want them, and especially if I get up around 12, then I'm just gonna be even more careful. I think I'd be careful after 4 or 5, but you never know. It just how that works.
Just cut it off from that.
Yeah. If 11 or 12 come out just in one batch, you never know. So obviously I'm not familiar with
either once or not at all.
Right, procreation, but so what is our mail?
Yeah, I mean, shoot. Yes, mailbag. We have one email today from our nifty mailbag. Before I read it, if any of our listeners out there want to send us an email, you can do so at realtruefactsmail@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at realtruefactsgram, where we post little tidbits of behind the shows, links to where you can listen, which is pretty much everywhere, right?
Yes, everywhere you can listen on all the major platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean. Subscribe, like and subscribe, rate and share. All of those buzzwords.
Yes, we have a few ratings on the show, which we certainly appreciate the listeners taking the time to send us some pretty high ratings. So it makes us very happy, and it makes our job easier too. We want to get the real true facts out there for you, and telling your friends, having your friends listen, tuning in every week, which I know so many of you are doing, and you're doing so from all over the world. We can tell, and we certainly appreciate you doing that. So keep doing that. Keep tuning in and searching for those facts with us. So mail today, we've got one from Hayden M. And Hayden wants to know, is Hollywood right? That's the subject of the email. Hayden writes, there are countless depictions of a subterranean climate in which dinosaurs still thrive in movies, TV, and even kids programming. How many biomes like this are there, and where are they?
Wow, hidden.
Somebody's been listening to Dr. Seymour.
I was going to say, wow, hidden biomes, but I didn't really want to use that word because I was a little scary I'm always scared to use words that I'm not 100% sure on.
Yeah, I can tell this listener has been tuning in because there's definitely some terms that our science bad boy has used. Biome.
Yeah, that reeks of Dr. Seymour. I think hidden biomes could be a really great topic if I'm clear on what that means.
I imagine just environments, any sort of hotbed environment where or closed off realms on this planet in which dinosaurs, specifically dinosaurs, maybe Cretaceous period, maybe even earlier than that, before dinosaurs, like a Mesozoic sort of thing.
Sure.
Jurassic, who knows? That's a subterranean climate, so something warm, I imagine. Could that still exist? In Hollywood, we have things, I'm thinking of like Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost, yeah. And many sort of episodes where someone, breaks through an ice wall or goes into a cave and, uncovers an entirely new thing.
Encino Man.
Sure.
Jurassic Park, we've got that. So that could be really something really cool to explore, no pun intended, these subterranean climates where dinosaurs could still exist. I'm sure. Why don't we get into it?
Hidden biomes. Yeah, again, I'm taking a bit of a chance on the word, but I love it.
Yeah, let's do it. That is our mail. A very small, modest mailbag today, but I think it was a pretty loaded question. So tune in next week. We'll talk about secret biomes and actually define the word because I probably am getting it wrong. So.
Yeah, before I say it again, I'll definitely ask someone else what it means.
I'll have to read what it means and then tell you because I know you're not going to read it. But
yeah, that's why I said I'll be asking someone or I'll be told by someone. Either way,
exactly.
Before we meet again.
Yes. So a very warm thank you to Dr. Seymour, who joined us briefly today before going back down to the science bunker. We'll touch base with him next week about our biomes. And also thank you to author David Kole, who joined us to really risk a lot to tell us about his life's work of documenting and really keeping the story alive of the Jersey Devil in order to maybe help us become better people, to warn us. We certainly appreciate his work and the risks he takes on a daily basis to bring us the real true facts. But that's just how we gotta roll sometimes. Thank you to him. We will check back in with him at some point during his collaboration with John Patrick Kobrax about the Mothman prophecies, not the movie. And I suppose, unless we have anything else, I think we'll go ahead and close it up for today.
I agree.
Perfect. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in again to another episode of Real True Facts. We will see you next week. Don't forget, we are also on YouTube if you'd like to listen to the show that way. Send us an email, realtruefactsmail@gmail.com. Follow us anywhere you can think of, except don't follow us back to our bunkers. And we'll see you next time. And remember, just because you hear about it or read about it doesn't mean it's true. Keep questioning your world, and we'll see you next time on Real True Facts.